This video is going to focus on which session is best to trade Forex. And basically, a trader has a few options. You can trade the European session, the US session, and the Asian session. Those are the three main sessions. Or obviously, you can trade sessions that trade throughout these sessions, encapsulating all of the sessions from start to finish. These are midterm to long-term strategies where you're looking to capture much longer trends. And that's something completely, different. Before we go over and look at the important elements in the chart here, generally speaking, a trader that trades the EU or US session, or both of them, it's because he's looking to capture big moves, okay, a lot more pips. That trader is facing an ultimate challenge at the beginning of each and every session. That challenge is asking yourself, is today's market going to be a trending or a ranging market? If it's going to be a trending market, is the trend going to continue from yesterday's trend, or are we going to see a reversal? If we're going to see a reversal, normally they're very brutal. How hard is that reversal going to be? Are we going to see a small correction before the trend continues? Maybe it pauses and then continues. So we'll see traders taking a profit in the market, then retracing a little bit, and then continue. Then, for example, if we know that there's a trend going on, and today they use session starting, we see the market pulling back from the trend. Do we know if that pullback is a reversal or just a correction? In other words, traders taking profit, and then the market's going to continue in its own direction. We don't know that. And that's why it is so hard to create trading systems that are based on very volatile market conditions like the EU and the US sessions. The unpredictability of what will happen in a given day's session is the number one problem why Forex robots and the system of manual traders fall apart. Because it's really hard to know what's going to happen in today's market condition. In comparison to that, on the other side of the scale, we have the Asian session. The Asian session, 95% of the time, is a calm session. As an example, if today's market was a ranging market through the EU and the US sessions, most likely you're going to see an Asian ranging session going sideways. And we know more or less the highs and lows of that session. If the EU and the US sessions finished the day trending up, we know that the Asian session is going to be an uptrending, ranging market. So it'll continue in a certain price channel, but the price channel is going to go up. For example, the Asian session behaves pretty much the same every night, according to what happened in the EU and the US sessions. It's very predictable, and you know what you're up against. That's really important. It allows you to create a much more reliable and accurate trading system. For example, if the EU and the US sessions were trending down during the day, coming into the Asian session, there's not going to be a lot of price moves. But the price channel is probably not going to be a sideways price channel. It'll be going down. But there's going to be a predefined highs and lows for that channel because the Asian session really behaves according to what happened throughout the day. So we can predict better price action during the Asian session. That being said, let's go over the 10 benefits of trading the Asian session, which are really important, folks. I think you should give this top importance to your trading. Let's start with news releases. Oh boy, isn't that everybody's favorite? I don't have to tell you about news releases. They are system killers. It's very hard to deal with these animals, really. We prefer, if at all possible, to not even try to deal with them. They are just that unpredictable. During the Asian session, you won't have news releases. It's extremely rare to have a news release during the Asian session. Most releases that change the direction of the market or develop new trends are going to happen during the EU and the US sessions. Again, these are very devastating to systems, and rollbots will typically just fall to pieces because of news releases. Economies change, and news releases are directly linked to economies. Once they hit the market moves in ways that nobody can accurately predict. Huge price swings requiring big stop losses during the EU and US sessions. The Asian session, not a problem. That's a big plus right there, folks, for the Asian session. It's a much calmer, more stable environment, volatility being top of the list. We've got clear, well-defined price patterns most of the time. That's a big yes. The Asian session moves in a very clear and defined price pattern pretty much all the time. It'll always range, sometimes sideways, sometimes with a certain degree up or down, but it's always going to range. And you already saw on our PipJet strategy outline, the robot looks at how the US session behaved in order to judge what type of ranging market you're going to have with the Asian market. That's very important. We talked about this earlier. The way the EU and the US sessions behave affects what type of ranging session the Asian market is going to give us. And PipJet makes that prediction very well and with a very high accuracy rate. Obviously, there are things you don't have in the US market. Price ranges are almost never clear. One day you can have spiking up, sideways part of the session, going crazy up and down later. You can never know in the morning what can happen by noon, and that's really frustrating. Again, the more defined price patterns are, the easier it is to speculate where the market's going to go in the next, X number of minutes, hours, or days. The Asian session is famous for its clear and well-defined prices. Okay, number 4, we already talked about this, so I'm not going to expound a whole lot on it here. Higher accuracy rate regarding speculation of market moves. With the EU and US sessions, it's very hard to know what the market's going to bring. The Asian session has a much higher accuracy rate regarding this. Number 5, fast trades, fast take profits. This is key. You've probably already looked at the account statements of PipJet, and also, if you haven't yet watched the video that accompanies that, it's very important. The Asian session is characterized by really fast trades and fast take profits. No stress, no waiting for a trade to make up its mind where it's going. This is a very strong point regarding the Asian session, and obviously not for the EU and US sessions. The faster your profit objective can be reached, the higher the chances of it being reached at all. It's simple and to the point, really. The longer it takes, the more unforeseen elements come into play. And that's really the way it is with everything in life, right? Not just trading. The more time it takes to accomplish something, the more opportunity you have for unforeseen elements to come in and make things go wrong. So, risk reward trade setups. Very good during the Asian session. Pretty average during the EU and US sessions. Much less market noise. Number 7 here. during the Asian session. Market noise, just in case you're not familiar with the term, is just moves, small or big, that are neither part of a trend or part of a ranging market. They are nothing. These are moves that just don't make any sense to any technical pattern or formation. The EU and US sessions are famous for market noise. Predictable trading sessions. Predictable start to finish. We've already talked about that. The Asian session, very predictable. Not so predictable in the other sessions. Less stress. Oh man, if you have traded, you know that stress is part of the game. What we want to create here is a stress-free environment. And the only way to do that is to trade a very low volatile market with no surprises, no news releases, no big stop losses. All of that together is going to guarantee a stress-free trading lifestyle. We want to make money, but we want to keep our health, right? And that's something the Asian session is going to give you that the other sessions simply can't. Lastly, competition. Guys, listen, competition, this is, you have probably heard the saying, 95% of traders lose money, 5% make money. Well, that's because of competition. Those 95% of traders are where everybody else is. You can't make money in a place where everybody else is. You have to have what's called opportunity. And opportunity, by definition, is being in a place where others aren't. Being in a place where there are opportunities others haven't seen. They haven't spotted the opportunity. Then we can take advantage of those opportunities alone. And, well, not alone, but to a degree. Okay, there's hundreds of thousands of traders out there. Well, if you got 500,000 of them trading the EU and US sessions, you know, you don't want to be mixed up in that. You want to be one of the 10, 20, or 30,000 traders that are trading the Asian session. And that's a key element. Stay away from competition. Find opportunities where you don't have competition. Okay, so that's it. I hope this video on the Asian session has given you something to think about, and more importantly, that you can use this information to make your trading better.